Hey there, I'm Casey Kerr, and welcome to Believe. I'm really excited to talk to you today and to share what we have to share with you today: expectation versus outcome, because it's amazing. But first, I want to say a few things. I want to thank you for being here. I am so overjoyed and grateful and blessed to have you be part of this journey with me, where we're here every week and you're sharing in this amazing experience, learning this information that I'm getting from life and getting from above and sharing with you. And it's helping me in my journey. It's helping my clients and students in their journeys, and I wanted to help you in yours. It's so important that we all do whatever we can for each other to be our best and to live our lives the way that we're meant to, so that we can enjoy ourselves, enjoy our lives, and be the best for the people in our lives who love us and who want to appreciate and experience their life, and who want to be with us as our loved ones, our families, our friends. Oh, my dog is about to start barking. That's live TV, right? So I'm really grateful today to have my dear friend and amazing business person with me here, Laura Willis, who we're going to continue a conversation with you that we started yesterday and has already had some pretty amazing, really interesting, what's the word I'm looking for, Laura? Impact. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. We're like, right here, we're connected. It's had some amazing impact on both of us so far and on the people that we've shared it with. So I'm really delighted to be able to share it with you today. So let me tell you a little bit about who is sitting here next to me. It's so nice to have company here. So this is Laura Willis, and Laura is the founder and owner of Encore Revolution, which I have always loved that name. Laura has been in the marketing business, specifically branding and messaging, for a number of years, and she has been an amazing help to me. She has taught me so much about how to get clear about what I'm trying to say, what I want to share, so that it's easier for you to understand it. And she's done that for a whole bunch of other people. So she really knows her stuff, and we're going to have a great experience today talking, where instead of doing this the kind of traditional interview way where, I ask Laura a lot of questions, and you may have seen or heard all of that before, the way that we're kind of doing things here now is that we're talking about topics that are really important to us as individuals, to you as individuals, to all of us, the collective together, that helps us to be better versions of ourselves, reaching that potential that we know we have. So Laura has been extremely instrumental in that. And why don't you share with them where they can find you, since they're not going to hear all about your amazing background today?
Well, they can find me on Facebook under EncoreRevolution.com, Encore Revolution, if you do Facebook.com/Encore Revolution, and EncoreRevolution.com as well. So,
Yeah. Laura's doing some amazing work right now in personal branding, which is something that, if you own a business, is an incredibly important thing for you. And if you don't own a business, but you're in a career, you're in the corporate world, it's also an important thing for you, because you want to be able to stand out for those people who need to notice you, the people who need what you have,
right,
or the people, if you're in corporate, who are above you and need to recognize what a gem you are, so that they can elevate you, and you can really be doing the work that you're meant to. So without further ado, let's jump into the content, because this is some juicy stuff. So we are talking about the difference between expectation and outcome. And I don't know about you, but I will tell you this. I have been a believer in law of attraction and co-creation for a very long time, but I have had a really hard time consistently, consciously applying it in ways that benefit me. And I've heard from so many of my clients, my students, my peers, friends like Laura, that they've also had that struggle. And so, as usual, my quest is to work out all the kinks and to figure out what isn't working so that I can fix it for myself, and then I can share it with you. And my intention is to always do that in a way that is in the simplest fashion for you. Also, though, every once in a while, I stumble onto something that I'm in such need of, and I know there is such a need out there for it, that I just share what I have, what I'm learning as I'm learning it before it's finessed. So you're getting the earliest stages of it. But the reason for that is because I know you need it, and because I trust you to stay with me and to let it evolve for you as it evolves for me, because we're friends, because I'm here to do this for you as much as I'm doing it for me, because we're the same. We have the same.
Well, it makes such a big difference, you know, and the little nuggets that you come across are huge transformational nuggets of information. So I think that's why it's important. And I'm speaking from experience, and even just from our conversation from yesterday, and what I started playing with and using today.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing.
It really is. And I know that you know that. I know that you're already having experiences using some of the techniques and strategies and ideas that I've been sharing with you. And so I'm just going to keep on doing that. So you keep coming back here, and I'll keep giving to you, and then you can give me feedback about it. And that's how we'll do this, right? So expectation versus outcome. One of these totally sets you up for success, and the other one sets you up for struggle. One of them sets you up to feel really empowered and really in control, and the other one sets you up to feel like you could be failing at any minute. One allows you to co-create, to manifest with ease and have fun with it, and the other one totally sets you up to feel like the other shoe is always about to drop, like you're worried about something that isn't going to happen. It makes you fretful, right? So which is which, you're probably wondering, and which of those do you experience more of? So this to me is very, very personal, because I have long struggled with the idea of that pesky, don't worry about the how when you're doing something. Don't worry about the how. The how will come to you. So you come up with your goal, your desire, your objective, and then somehow you're supposed to create a plan for it. But there's a point at which you kind of have to just go on trust and faith and hope that everything is going to happen the way that you want it to. And that does happen. There are things that trip that up, though. When you have negative programming that we've talked about over and over again, that trips you up in a big way, because it triggers your fears and worries that you're not going to be able to take all of the action that you need, or that the action that you're taking isn't necessarily going to give you the direct results that you wanted. So when you're in that process, it causes you to worry, right? It causes,
and it's sneaky.
It's very sneaky. It's very
creeps
sneaky.
Right in there.
And it causes you very often to change your plans, right? Where you maybe lower your expectations a little bit. You're still kind of hoping for the big goal, but then you water it down a little bit and say, well, all right, if it's not that many people, at least make it be this many people. Or if it's not that amount of money, at least give me enough to cover my bills and cover my expenses. But really what you're doing when you do that is you're comparing yourself against the expectation that you set, which might have been based on someone else's experience, or what you think you need, what you think is the average, just some number that you picked out of random. It doesn't matter where you got your expectation from, but when you're working against an expectation, especially if it's numbers that are going to determine your level of success, that situation sets you up to constantly be comparing yourself against that number. And every time you're not meeting it, you begin to wonder, what am I doing wrong? So then you start to second guess yourself and you think, okay, let me change some things up. Let me switch things around. Maybe I need to change, the goal. Maybe I need to lower that a little bit because
I'm not doing enough.
It brings you into
what else am I supposed to be doing? I feel like I'm doing everything.
Yep, there's something wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Why isn't this working?
Somebody else isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Makes you compare yourself against other people who seem to be having the success that you're not experiencing. And so, but we hear from so many experts that it's important to set goals, and that people who set goals are more likely to achieve them, and that when you do that, you're much more likely to reach the success that you want to. And all of that is true. So then with that, it makes it seem really difficult for us to kind of figure out, when you're in it, okay, how do I do this then without triggering myself, without getting into that state of worry and doubt and fear and comparing myself against these numbers? How do I do that and at the same time be working toward these goals? So what I've learned, and this was inspired by another amazing woman in my life who is on the same journey, Ann Deck, and she coached me the other day about this idea of outcome, or a couple of weeks ago. And it's been growing and growing with me, where the way that we've been using it is that instead of saying to yourself, how many people do I want to come to this event to make me feel successful? You ask yourself what you want the outcome to be. How do you want to feel?
I'm wondering if we should walk them through like our conversation from last night, yesterday, when we were talking about this event. This is exactly what we were talking about.
Yeah,
I have an event coming up.
Lay the groundwork.
April 1st, and it's co-presenting with 4 other women, and the whole program, the whole day came together so easily. And it just seemed like everything felt right. And, just things were clicking and all of that. And now, we're trying to get people to come to the event and to register for it and pay for it and all of that. And I've been trying to think of, I've put the promotion out there. I've been putting it on Facebook. I've been, doing all the things that I feel like I need to do to get people to come. And we all agreed, the 5 of us agreed on a specific number. And so Casey and I were talking about it, and I said, I'm wrestling with, like, how do I get more people to come? And Casey helped me to shift, and you can jump in here, but it was like, instead of focusing on that expectation, what are the outcomes that you want? Like, not even well, some of it can be financial, but that's not the only thing. Like, what are the outcomes? So my piece of this event is helping people to align with their passion, which is what I really love to do, and with who they really are. So what is it about that I want to, what's the experience I want to have with that? What's the outcome I want? Well, the outcome is that I want to feel like I'm doing the work that I'm meant to do, and that it makes me feel really fulfilled when I'm doing that and when I'm talking about the stuff that I'm passionate about.
Let's back up for 1 second.
Yep.
So when she was talking about the expectations of the number of people that they expected for a minimum, she was getting all agitated. Yeah. It was causing her all kinds of anxiety, because she was looking at that number that initially they all thought, drop in the bucket, that's no problem. But now, as we're getting closer and closer to the event, Laura's feeling the pinch of, oh, we're not close to that number yet. So, oh no, what do we need to do?
Yeah.
And taking
or
herself,
else we're not going to have it, and I don't want to let down the people that have registered for it.
Right.
It's like all that stuff starts to come in.
Exactly. So she's got all these questions, and she's looking at the other people and thinking, oh my goodness, what if they're feeling the same way? Now all of us are potentially feeding all of this kind of fearful energy into what started out to be this incredibly awesome, really,
exciting,
thing that was flowing so beautifully. Because when she first started talking about this event, it was nothing but, woo, I can't wait, it's going to be so awesome. It's come together so perfectly and effortlessly. So when I heard her talking with anxiety about those numbers, that's when I said, okay, let's play this game and let's do this. So I asked her, okay, let's not look at this event like it's the end all be all. Let's see it as a milestone along the way to all the things that you want for your whole big picture. So yes, it's a singular event that you have goals and objectives for, but it's also a milestone toward other things.
Right.
So we closed our eyes, and I asked Laura, what are some of the things that you want to come out of this for that day? How do you want to feel in that day? And so some of the things you just mentioned, about feeling in your purpose, really connecting with your target market, having
potentially drawing some clients in.
Yep.
Making some income, and then also even looking at the event as a practice event, like doing this event with other people. I haven't done a live full day event like that, and it's something that I want to do or would like to do, either full day or multi-day events down the road. And so I looked at this as a great opportunity, okay, I don't have to do this on my own. And there's 5 of us, so we have 5 lists of people to attract, to reach and all of that. So I was looking at this as a great practice too. How does this all come together? What are all the moving pieces and parts?
So what we started to do was say, okay, let's focus on those outcomes. From this event, you want to be able to walk in there on April 1st and feel totally connected to your audience, completely in your purpose and knowing that you're expanding in that moment. You want to make deep connections with people. You want to have all of that feeling.
Help them.
You want to help them.
I mean, that was the whole purpose of the event. We wanted to help people who are stuck.
So you know that you're showcasing your expertise and exhibiting your credibility to shine yourself as a beacon to say to these people, I can help you. If this is what you're suffering from, I can help you. So then some of the milestone outcomes she was talking about were that she wanted to be able to generate some income from people who attended this event or referred other people, but that one of the outcomes would be, oh, hey, new clients that come on board because they want more of what she shared there. She also wants to know that she is figuring out what parts of this that she really likes, like what could lead to other things. Could this lead potentially to speaking engagements where she gets to go out and do this more often, which would expand her, what I call her ecosystem, expanding her reach, which is an expansion activity. And that's part of what helps you to grow. That's part of what helps you to raise, your personal frequency so that you're attracting more of what you want. You got to be expanding. You got to get out of that comfort zone. So those are several of the outcomes. So what we started to do was literally feel into that place and forget about the minimum number that she wanted, because technically she could achieve everything that she's looking for by having 5 perfect people there, or even 1 perfect person. What if the person in the audience who showed up is someone who is an ideal client, feels deeply connected, knows lots of other people who are in that same boat, suffer from the same thing, is very engaged? I mean, ideally, obviously, we don't want to throw a big event and have only 1 person show up. But just to prove the point that part of what had her worried about the number was not just the number in and of itself. It was all the things that they were going to potentially miss out on because they thought, if we don't have the number, we're not going to get any of this. So we really broke it down to say, well, what are the thises that are really important to you? Because if you can get all the thises without that specific number or worrying about that specific number, wouldn't that be amazing? And the less you worry about that specific number, but even though you put it out there, the more likely you are to actually attract it.
Well, and the cool thing was, as we were doing this process, I realized that now my mind had shifted to focusing on those outcomes, those things that I was really excited about from the get-go in the first place, and away from the stress and the anxiety I was having. So I was already feeling a shift in my own energy, and just doing like writing out these things was a really simple thing to do, but it made a huge difference in where my energy and focus is on it.
Yeah.
And it's still a practice, you know, it's still gonna, but then I was telling Casey that I started to play around with it this morning. I had a meeting to go to, a networking meeting this morning. And, you know, in the beginning, was like getting out of bed this morning, and it's like, okay, well, what kind of outcomes do I want? You know, like they were saying there was a big accident on the road, and I'm like, all right, well, I'd like that to be cleared up by the time I'm on the road. And it was like, I had like no traffic, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome, you know. And I thought, no, I don't need to get there super early, but I'd like to get there at this time. And I got there right about that time. And so just started playing with it. And for me, play with it is so huge too, because that alone also shifts my energy from, oh my gosh, I have to do this a certain way, or I have to get so deep on something or whatever.
Yeah.
Playing with it, it just like lightens the load.
It does. And it allows you to learn how to do the practice, to learn the concept, and to take it in and to really experience it, but with low stakes. So when the stakes are high, that's when you have all the pressure, right? So when you practice this kind of stuff with getting parking spaces and getting a table at a restaurant or a seat at the bar, or that they have exactly the number of whatever's you need in the grocery store later, you know, that you're not going to be there with the traffic despite the fact that it's maybe during that hour. Play with it in ways where the stakes are low so that you can get really comfortable with the concept and have fun with it. So one of the sort of like traps to this that I really feel like is important to mention is Laura and I both come from, you know, a lot of the same training grounds that maybe you have too, where it's like, well, okay, you know, just say to yourself, use acceptance and say, well, if we don't reach this minimum number, that's okay. And, you know, yeah, it's okay to do that too. But what happens is it's a slippery slope between saying that to get rid of the worry in the moment, and that's good, but the part where doing that practice is not a great coping mechanism or stopgap measure, because if you start to lower the amount of people that you're saying, now you're saying to yourself, I don't believe that it's possible. I'll settle for less. And you're going to go into it feeling kind of lousy. The idea is not to focus on the number from a negative perspective. And if you can't focus on it from a positive perspective, if it triggers you, then just take it out of the equation. And that's where you start to incorporate the trust and the expectation. And you say, okay, I know that what we're offering there's a need out there for it. I know that I'm doing everything I can to bring people to it. And so I know that the number that we're looking for is really not a big number. I'm just going to trust that we're going to make that and that it's going to be a great experience. And you kind of like take your mind off of it a little bit, because when it triggers you, it's doing more damage, right? So for people who have very positive programming where they're not pessimists, they don't look at the worst of things, they're not caught up in the worry and the fretting. If they don't have that, then for them, the number isn't a trigger. So the number it's fine, it's neutral. If the number is a trigger for you, you need to do something different than the people for whom that number is not a trigger, right? Mm-hmm. So hopefully you're getting the point by now that I'm talking to the people for whom numbers is a trigger. Whether the number is, you know, the minimum, an amount of money, whatever it is, because that triggers the fears that you have, right? So the first step is that you look at whether you're doing expectation or outcome. And to diffuse the triggers from the expectations, you focus on the outcomes that you want that have nothing to do with the numbers. You look at what are the feelings that you want to have in the moment. What are you What are you expecting this to bring you after the fact? Like, what is this going to be a milestone of? What's it going to bring back to you? What are your thises? If this happens, I'll be so happy. What are your thises? Yeah.
Like, where is it pushing you out of your comfort zone? Too,
right. Well, that's a necessary thing, right? Yeah. So I'm going to ask you guys to play with us for just a minute here and do this exercise with us. I'm going to ask you, think about something that you want to bring to life right now. We can do this about your business. You can do it in a relationship. You can do it with your weight. You can do it with anything. It doesn't matter. Pick something that's important to you where you currently have an expectation that you are not meeting. I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay. So I'm assuming that you've got it now, and if you don't, then you can catch up because we're running out of time. The stick is coming. So close your eyes and ask yourself, okay, what is the outcome that I want for this? How do I want to feel as I'm approaching this, as I'm experiencing it, as I'm in it? What do I want to feel in the moment? What are the emotions and the feelings that I want to have? And get clear on those. Write them down. Now let's look at looking at this as a milestone, what are the things that you hope will come about as a result of this event, experience, whatever it is? What are the thises that you want to get out of it after the fact? You know, do you want to be introduced to certain people? Do you want to feel clarity? Do you want new ideas? Do you want, if we're doing it with your body or your weight, do you want to feel fewer cravings? Do you want to feel more control? Like, what are the things that you want to be outcomes of this? And make a list of those. Now, I want you to look at how that feels differently for you. How is that making you feel in the moment? Because if you're doing this in a way where you are focusing strictly on the outcome and not the expectation with its rigidity and its numbers and its, kind of solid one path, it has to be this way to get there, it has to be this way to count. If you're doing the outcome the way that we're intending, you should be feeling relief. You should be feeling, oh, wait a minute, I can do that, right? You should be feeling more empowered. What were some of the things that you felt?
Well, I think it was relief. It was less anxiety. Like the anxiety, I wasn't really even thinking about it anymore.
Yeah.
And so then that even just opened me up to new possibilities and just relaxing about the whole thing,
Which led to her this morning at this event talking up the April 1st event and having
at least a couple of people say they were signing up, they just hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, so it works. The part of it that is really, really integral, and I don't want this to get lost in any of this, is that it's about how you feel. Because the better you feel, the stronger you feel, the more you believe that what you want is in the works and is happening, then the more fuel you're giving to it. And when you feel good, and you feel strong and you feel confident and secure in what you're doing, and you're taking a risk, but you're expanding into stuff that gets you excited and makes you feel stimulated, then you take more risks. You take more action. You tend to do more of the things that right now you're probably procrastinating on because you don't want to fail. You don't want to get rejected. You don't want to be judged. You don't want to feel like you're extending yourself and you can't afford it. You don't want to feel lack. You don't want to feel any of those, what I call core fears. So you protect yourself against the core fears by staying immobile and not doing anything and waiting to see what happens. But when you feel great, that's not an issue. It's not. You take more and more action. And it's making those tough choices choosing the risk, choosing the expansion, that is actually what brings you what you want, right? So, I'm looking forward to hearing from you what your outcomes are. And I would also say this, using this process of focusing on the outcome versus the expectation is something that you can and should use. I hate to use the word should, but I can't think fast enough to replace it with something. So you are able, and I strongly recommend that you use it for more than just big picture outcomes that you want, because you do things every single day, right? You have choices and decisions to make a million times a day. Start using this process on some of those outcomes. If you're like, my son was having a tantrum in the store the other day, and I thought to myself, what do I want the outcome to be? Well, I want to feel totally calm. I don't want to blow up. I don't want to drag this out. I want him to calm down. I want him to feel better. I want to be able to just hug it out and move on about our business. And as soon as I focused on that being what I wanted, it was like I knew immediately that I had to stop talking, which is probably the answer a lot more than I think. But I had to just be quiet. And I had to just wait until he crashed and came to me, hugging me. I'm sorry. And then it was over. And we were like, okay, good. That's all it was. It's amazing how quickly this happens. And you build the trust in this process the more frequently you use it. So use it for everything. What am I going to have for lunch today? What's the outcome I want? I want to eat something
I want to
feel nourished. I don't want to feel super full. I want to feel good. I want to feel like I did something nice for my body. I want something that's simple and isn't going to take a long time. Oh, so then you get the idea, right? And the more you do that, the more confident you get, and the more the practice becomes habituated. And when you do it in the little moments like that, then in the bigger moments, it's easy peasy. It's already your thing. So thank you for being here and for playing with us today. And I can't wait to hear your feedback about what outcomes you have decided for yourself and what you're actually creating, how quickly it's happening for you and how it's moving. And I thank you always for being here with me and letting me share this with you and letting me expand myself and my mastery as I get to know you better and as I introduce you more and more to me and to the people in my circle who have helped me to get where I am and who are traveling on this awesome journey with me to the great beyond, our best selves. I'm here for you. I believe in you. And if you have any trouble believing in yourself to the point where you can't make those tough decisions that require risk, then I'm here to help you. So just reach out, Facebook, email, I'm here. And I have a brand new program that's starting in the next month that is really has everything that you need to learn how to believe in yourself. And when you believe in yourself,
you can do anything.
You can do anything. Thank you for joining us here on Believe. And don't forget to check out my great friend Laura Willis here. And we look forward to seeing you next time here on Believe. I'm Casey Kerr. Thanks so much. We love you. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Mwah.